Call the meeting to order. Welcome to all council and Carrie, as well as any who may happen to be via telephone. This is the regular meeting of the Council of the Municipality of Swan Valley West, held in Council Chambers, 216 Main Street, West Swan River, Manitoba. This 25th day of August 2020 at 7 p.m. Present, myself, Deputy Reeve Blosha, Councillors Foster, Gade, Wills, Kushniryk, and Councillor Pierrepont is to attend by telephone, as well as ACAO/FO James Webb.
Good evening. Who's joined us on the phone?
Meredith Shaloma.
Oh, thanks. Welcome.
Took me 5 tries to get through.
You're in.
Moved by Councillor Gade, second by Councillor Foster, resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of council held this 25th day of August 2020 shall be adopted as circulated. Do we have any additions or changes? Not all in favor? It's carried. Moved by Councillor Foster, seconded by Councillor Gade. Resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of council and the public hearing for the Municipality of Swan Valley West held on August 11th, 2020 shall be adopted as circulated. Any questions, comments, errors, or omissions?
On the August 11th regular meeting, we need to add the note that I left and came back. It's not in here.
Okay.
It was partway through 16 and I returned just before, I don't know if I returned I think just before 17.
Okay, you've taken note of that, have you?
Well, yes.
A copy or you got that? You want to see a copy of it?
No, I'll just mark it for the 6.
Okay.
Out it in the 16 and back in on the 17. Okay, thank you.
Any other amendments or errors or omissions? If not, all in favor? That is carried. Some more resolutions.
Okay.
We have no public works report, right?
No, I'll take these off.
Okay, we'll move to number 7.1, Swan Lake financial statements. You all had a chance to review. Moved by Councillor Foster, seconded by Councillor Wills, resolved that the financial statements for the Swan Lake Watershed District for the year ended March 31st, 2020 be accepted as submitted. Any errors or omissions there? Questions? Not all in favor? That's carried. Seven point two, supplemental taxes.
So 7.2 deals with 19. There's just a short page there with one on it. That's just a small change.
Okay, moved by Councillor Blosha, second by Councillor Foster. Resolved that in accordance with section 300 and 326 of the Municipal Act, the changes to the 2020 assessment roll for the Municipality of Swan Valley West shall be accepted by the council and applied to that portion of the 2019 taxes as described in the reports received from the Province of Manitoba Assessment Branch Swan River Office dated August 17th, 2020, copies of which are attached. Questions on those? That one? If not, all in favor? Carried. Okay, the 2020 list, as you can see, is a bit larger, longer. Moved by Councillor Foster, second by Councillor Kushniryk. Resolved that in accordance with section 300 and 326 of the Municipal Act, the changes to the 2020 assessment roll for the Municipality of Swan Valley West shall be accepted by the council and applied to that portion of the 2020 taxes as described on the reports received from the Province of Manitoba Assessment Services, Swan River Office dated June 9 and August 17, 2020, copies of which are attached. Any questions on the 2020 list?
Just something real simple here with the Bill software assessment. Is that all acceptable now? Like,
Is it which?
acceptable? Like the way it's assessed now?
I think this is additions to the rolls.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
it was all looked after,
yeah,
and he was in the other day, so everything seems to be good.
okay, good.
Maybe anything further? If not, all in favor? It's carried. Okay, 7.4 is a letter from the town of Swan River to the Swan Valley Health Facilities Foundation requesting their contribution of $300,000 towards a CT scanner. We have a resolution to go along with it. It's moved by Councillor Kushniryk, second by Councillor Wills. Request to the Health Facilities Foundation, whereas the purchase of a CT scanner to be used at the Swan Valley Health Center would benefit all residents of Swan River Valley and to follow up resolution and supporting documentation as required. Be it further resolved that the Municipality of Swan Valley West hereby supports the letter drafted by the town of Swan River as presented. Questions or comments on that? Not all in favor? It's carried.
Go ahead.
He did accept the...
7.5 is Swan Valley Business Consortium. Are they still going to be,
Yeah, I thought we would save that until after we meet with them.
we'll do that. Okay. 7.6 PR 275, meeting in Winnipeg. Moved by Councillor Kushniryk, seconded by Councillor Gade. Resolved that Council for the Municipality of Swan Valley West does hereby approve the attendance of the following persons to the PR 275 and Drainage Path meeting in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Hi, James, can you hear us? Oh,
Yes,
hello?
Yes, we
Hi,
can.
James?
You're muted, signpost.
Hello, how is it going? Hello?
Hello?
Just a second, Meredith. Naomi, are you with us?
In front of the boss. But I put pencil, I did put pencil.
Oh, there, that's a plus.
Okay, we were interrupted. I will begin the resolution again. Moved by Councillor Kushniryk, second by Councillor Gade. Resolved that Council for the Municipality of Swan Valley West does hereby approve the attendance of the following persons to the PR 275 and Drainage Path meeting in Winnipeg, Manitoba, to be held on September 9th, 2020. Be further resolved that all applicable expenses shall be paid in accordance with current municipal policies and bylaw. Now, I had received a call from government. They had requested my attendance as well as one other council member. And I thought it fitting that if Councillor Wills could get away on that day, September 9th, would be fitting because the highway is in his ward. Are you able to attend?
Yeah, I think I can.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Not, all in favor? That's carried. Oh boy, this is a big one.
It is, yes.
No fun reading through this mess. Moved by Councillor Wills, second by Councillor Blosha. Resolved that Council lobby the federal government to revoke the amendments to the Criminal Code on May 1st, 2020, under an order in Council titled and referred to as Regulations, amending the regulations prescribing certain firearms and other weapons, components, and parts of weapons, accessories, cartridge magazines, ammunition, and projectiles as prohibited, restricted, or non-restricted SOR/2020-96. The Municipality of Swan Valley West supports initiatives to end violence. However, feels very strongly that the Government of Canada is wasting valuable resources and taking the wrong approach to gun control that will have zero effect on gun crime. Whereas on May 1st, 2020, the federal government amended the criminal code by ordering regulations prescribing certain firearms, components and parts of firearms, accessories, cartridge magazines, ammunition, and projectiles as prohibited or restricted. And whereas the Government of Canada is planning a buyback program to get the guns out of circulation, which is expected to cost between $400 and $600 million, and if the history of federal estimating repeats itself, will likely be in excess of $1 billion. And whereas the Municipality of Swan Valley West supports the Government of Canada's commitment to end violence, whether firearms are involved or not, by taking the opportunity to be more engaged and to collaborate with the public and local stakeholders to develop more effective solutions on the issue. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of Swan Valley West urges the Government of Canada to revoke the amendment and instead institute the following. Target crime and focus on enforcement through enhanced enforcement capacity for law enforcement and border services, as well as harsher punishments for firearms trafficking and crimes involving firearms. The current ban targets law-abiding owners rather than the holders of illicit firearms and would not greatly impact crime reduction. Collect and share relevant data on crime involving firearms through improved collection and sharing of data on crimes involving firearms, particularly in terms of sources of illicit firearms and types of crime being committed. This data is critical for supporting law enforcement and border agencies' efforts, as well as informing policy and legislation. Collaborate with the firearms community and industry to support communication, training, and public education regarding firearms to create a multifaceted approach rather than implementing a ban in isolation. The Municipality of Swan Valley West feels that the federal government's gun ban will be an expensive exercise that will only serve to take law-abiding people's property while doing nothing to reduce crime. Municipalities are the level of government closest to the people, and a large part of our budget and operations is focused on providing safe and healthy communities. We see forecasts of hundreds of millions of federal dollars to be spent buying guns back from people, as these are people who went through the necessary education, background checks, and licensing to purchase them. It seems to be a poorly thought out plan, especially if its aim is to reduce crime. Questions, comments? Not? All in favor? That is carried.
Would you like to stay on schedule the public hearing, or
Yeah.
the consortium is with us too?
Do we have anyone online for the public hearing?
Has anybody joined us on the phone? Who's on the phone?
I am, but I have nothing to do with the public hearing.
Okay, and is there anybody else on the phone? Okay, thanks. Doesn't seem like it.
How long will the business consortium?
15 minutes. But we can do the...
Let's do the public
Yep,
hearing and
that's good, just stay on
All over
schedule.
the schedule.
I'm just going to welcome them and then,
Yep.
do that.
They're not eligible.
Naomi, are you with us? Can you hear?
Yep, we are.
Okay.
I have Johnny and Derek with me.
Okay, good. We're just going to do one more item on the agenda, then we'll have you join us.
Okay, not a problem.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, moved by Councillor Blosha, second by Councillor Foster, resolved that we do hereby adjourn the regular meeting of council at 7:18 p.m. to open the following public hearing. A variance application for the northwest one quarter of section 12, 3428W. Be it further resolved that we shall reconvene the regular meeting of council immediately following the adjournment of said public hearing. Questions or comments? If not, all in favor? That is carried. Public hearing is held by the Council of the Municipality of Swan Valley West in Council Chambers, 216 Main Street West, Swan River, Manitoba. This 25th day of August 2020 at 7:19 p.m. regarding the variance application concerning the property known as the northwest one quarter of section 12, 3428W. Present, myself, Deputy Reeve Blosha, Councillors Foster, Gade, Kushniryk, and Wills, as well as Finance Officer ACO James Webb. So I guess we have no one in attendance, either pro or against, in this public hearing, so we will simply move on to the next resolution. Moved by Councillor Wills, second by Councillor Blosha. Resolved that the Council for the Municipality of Swan Valley West shall hereby call to order the public hearing regarding the variance application on the property known as the northwest one quarter of section 12, 3428 WPM. This 25th day of August 2020 at 7:20 p.m. All in favor? That is carried. I will ask at any rate if there is anyone to speak in favor of the variance. Anyone on the telephone willing to speak to the variance? Favor of it? Anyone on the telephone willing to speak against the variance? Anyone prepared to speak against the variance? There being none, moved by Councillor Wills, second by Councillor Kushniryk, whereas the Council for the Municipality of Swan Valley West has received an application for a variance on the property known as the northwest one quarter of section 123428 WPM, specifically to increase the maximum site from 10 acres to 17.26 acres within the AG agricultural zone as per table 4.1 of zoning bylaw number 2383-04. Whereas notice of the public hearing was posted and delivered to adjacent landowners in accordance with Part 6 of the Planning Act, and the municipality has not received any objections with respect to said variance. Therefore be it resolved that Council of the Municipality of Swan Valley West does hereby approve the aforementioned variance as per the application dated July 16, 2020, and shall issue variance order number 2020-06. Be it further resolved that the Reeve or Deputy Reeve shall be authorized to sign said order on behalf of the municipality. Questions or comments? Not all in favor? That is carried. Moved by Councillor Kushniryk, second by Councillor Foster. Resolved that the public hearing shall now adjourn at 7:23 p.m. All in favor? It's carried. Moved by Councillor Gade, second by Councillor Foster. Resolved that the regular meeting of Council for the Municipality of Swan Valley West shall now reconvene at 7:23 p.m. to proceed with the regular business of Council. All in favor? Carried.
That's just all the details. Okay, we'll just unmute the consortium and you can welcome them.
A little early, but next on our agenda at 7:30 p.m. slated was the delegation from the Swan Valley Business Consortium. Welcome. Please, all who are going to be presenting or with the group, just say your name. And
Good afternoon, Reeve, Galloway, and Council. Sitting in the same room tonight, we have Mr. Derek Armstrong, part of the Swan Valley Business Consortium subcommittee, as well as Miss Naomi Griffith and myself, Johnny Wintoni. Unfortunately, we have regrets from Reeve Minish, who was unable to attend this evening.
Okay, thank you very much. The floor is yours.
All right. Well, I'm going to start off talking a little bit about the Business Consortium and our subcommittee and the proposal of a pilot project, rather. And then my colleagues will take over and say a few words, and then we invite questions and comments from yourself and council. So I'm going to start off just giving a little background on the Swan Valley Business Consortium. The Swan Valley Business Consortium is a group of community-minded businesses, owners, and citizens who truly care about the community and want nothing more but success for their business and community. The group is comprised of independent business owners, employees of business, members of local government, and members of provincially funded organizations. This group's mandate is very simple: come together, share information without being attached to the group in any form. This group is not comprised of a board or funded in any manner. This group acts as an arm's length organization of the Swan Valley Chamber of Commerce. The Safety Partnership Group is a subcommittee of the Swan Valley Business Consortium with the proposal of a pilot project. Our purpose is to obtain the support of the Municipality of Swan Valley West, Reeve and Council as per attached resolution, so that we have a sample resolution. We also have a resolution passed by another municipality. The scope of the project, the Safety Partnership is a fledgling group that is devoted to improving the Swan River Valley. We have heard all of the concerns that business owners and citizens have shared, and believe that we have a plan in place that can achieve the results that we as the Valley so desire. We know that safety means more than the absence of crime. It means members of our community will have access to health and support they need when they need it. This means connecting people with the right resources at the right time. The Safety Partnership will connect citizens with mental health and addiction services, job training, and employment that will translate into a better valley for everyone. This will be an opportunity to strengthen partnerships that will make our community safer, more inclusive, and more welcoming for all. To achieve the success of this, to achieve the success that is anticipated, this must be driven by the community, by people and organizations that have the experience and expertise. There are two main objectives within the scope of this project. First, community crime reduction strategy, and the second, a community environmental sustainability. Branching from these two objectives would include community crisis programs, employment services, community work and restorative justice programs, government and sustainable programs, housing and life skills, drug addiction services. The ambition is to secure a location within the town of Swan River, but this group is open to suggestions for a site within the Swan River Valley. The space should be large enough to house a vast array of services. This would allow the opportunity to move all resources into one space. The objective would be to provide all the resources that one might need to be rehabilitated and skills to re-enter into the community. Another point of engagement is the opportunity for successful employment. This would include the development of a local greenhouse to which provincial government has committed $42 million of grant funding available. And just to be clear, that $42 million is not granted to this organization. It's been a project that the provincial government has mandated to the province as a whole. Exploring sustainability by utilizing cardboard for incineration to provide the heating source for the greenhouse would also provide additional employment. And this would also further develop a recycling program. And this opportunity may have lasting positive impacts for our local government's growing concerns around recycling and cardboard. Exploring land from other areas such as CN Railway for additional property is an opportunity moving forward. And not only CN Railway, but there are other options wherever a building may be located. Implementing housing opportunities, including mental health authorities, eco apartments, and Habitat for Humanity are ways to gain stable housing. We have many partnerships, and we all know that those partnerships are doing an amazing job. We have listed, I think that you've been provided the speaking notes for this. There are all the partnerships that are listed there. It's a vast array of partnerships. We're not here to reinvent the wheel. We all know that every one of those groups are doing an amazing job within our community. We don't want to reinvent it. We want them to continue to operate and do what they do because they are professionals in their area. We just want to establish a more cohesive and a more cohesive program. Funding, at this time, the group has determined that most of our funding will be from provincial government along with support from federal and provincial grants. Currently, we are not requesting funds from your municipality. In conclusion, until the safety partnership obtains support of the municipalities, mayors, councils from each municipality, including yours, we feel that this information should be held in trust and confidential. Upon receiving your support, the group would make the necessary communications and relationship developing and move forward. The Swan Valley Community Safety Partnership will make information available and transparent every step of the way. We look forward to your support and encourage the partnership to move forward. And attached, you will find a sample resolution, and then you will also find a resolution from the town of Swan River. So what we are seeking from your municipality is a very similar resolution. I will pass the the computer screen to Mr. Armstrong to say a few words.
Good evening, everyone. I was just wondering, I'd like to be able to just hear who's on the call. I haven't had the luxury of meeting all of you. I'm new to the community within the last 3 years, so I was just wondering if you guys could introduce yourselves.
Okay, I will start. I'm Bill Galloway. I'm Reeve.
Hi, Bill.
Hi.
Carrie Blosha, Deputy Reeve.
Glen Foster, Councillor.
Kushniryk, I think we've met. Hi Derek, Matt Wills, I think we've met too.
Hey, Matt.
Bill Gade.
Hi, Bill.
James Webb, Finance
James.
Officer.
And we have one councillor down tonight, that's Councillor Pierrepont.
Okay. Oh, yes, I believe I've met him at our consortium meetings before as well. And some of you I've had the great opportunity to have a chance to meet. I guess I would just like to put a little context to some of the verbiage that Johnny was sharing as we went through the opening this afternoon with you. I feel very, very fortunate that my wife and I have been able to move here 3 years ago. We had started up when I was in the industry. I've been in manufacturing for over 35 years, and this has just turned out to be a great place for us to come and put down roots for retirement. And my wife is from Star City, not too far from here, and you know, my family is a ranching family from the southern part of the province, and I lived up in the Melfort area for 10, 15 years and worked at Borgo Industries, and I've been very fortunate to have some very good positions. During those times, though, one of the things that I've come across, especially working in the southern part of this province for a number of years down at the core cabinets and with Jodale Ferry and New Flyer, is that there seems to be a lack of resources that are available to organizations, companies, communities, rural municipalities from within the city. And I think we all commonly know that as perimeteritis. But in saying that, it doesn't seem to matter if it's Transport Canada, WCB, Workplace Safety, and you're dealing with issues that you need to be able to address competently on an ongoing basis. So one of the things we had done in the southern part of the province is we had started up a consortium very, very similar to this, with 6 companies representing 3,000 employees. And that organization is still going today, 22, 23 years later. And our hopes is that the consortium that we have now in Swan River is exactly the same. We want to entice all the community members, you know, the rural municipalities, anybody that has a vested interest in this region and wants to assist in the growth of themselves, their individual workers, their community members, and their companies, and also, you know, those that are around that we can garner support from in participation. We really look at 3 key objectives. One being the shared training and resources that we have available to us, so that we're not reinventing the wheel, incurring extra mobilization costs or issues associated with it. Policy and systems development, a lot of the larger companies will share with smaller organizations. It doesn't matter what the discipline is, whether it's workplace safety and health or policing or any of that security. We'll also be willing to share policy and procedure. And then lastly is the crime strategy processes, where we're all coming together now and trying to come up with processes that actually will work for us in these regions and then within the community. My last posting was Director of Human Resources for New Flyer North America. So I had the good fortune to work in multiple states and provinces and see the pros and the cons of what some RMs, counties, states, provinces were doing. And we've wanted to kind of piggyback on some of those great ideas. And coming here and seeing over the last few years some of the issues that we were facing as a community, we've kind of taken the consortium now and said, you know what, there's an opportunity for us to come together and start to conceptualize a change. Conceptually, we're not looking for anything from funding from anyone. We're not looking for anything other than support and whether or not key players would participate with us in the future as we move this process forward. So looking at what Johnny said, he's bang on. It's exactly that. We want to be able to put together a tiered approach where we can draw community members and partners together and look at something that is a holistic game plan. And right now, we were very fortunate to have Mr. Wojcik participate with us in several meetings with respect to the subcommittee and the crime strategy. The police are on board. The town is on board. We've got government, non-government, church groups. We've got healthcare, education, quite a long list, like Johnny had said, that are willing to participate in this. To come up with a plan that will take us from this fragment, again, something that at the end of the day we can bite off a piece of this elephant that we're dealing with. And I like to say that within 2 to 3 years, we've got stable funding, stable employment, some of these issues that would have been problematic even now, to a point where we are actually managing them. So I think this is something that when I take a look around the table from the consortium to the subcommittee that we've got now, we're looking at strong partners and we're looking at people that have ambitions that we're seeing. So I'm hoping that you folks will see that there's a place for you at the table here, and we want to have partnerships with everybody in and around us, and so that is something that's very, very important. So I guess the other thing that I would just say is, if you feel that there's questions or thoughts or concerns outside of this, please make sure you bring them forward. Our subcommittee and the consortium at large is meeting continually. We are honestly meeting with the police on a regular basis and all the stakeholders and community groups, still reaching out and talking with government and non-government. Again, just those strong partnerships is really what we're looking at. Relationships with Manitoba Justice is next, and we've already got their ear. So we're looking for everyone's support. So just to thank you for you to have us here tonight, and I'm going to pass you on to Naomi.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Naomi Griffith. I've been in the Valley for about 18 years. And in those 18 years, I've seen a change in the Valley, some good, some bad. And as I run the business here, I feel that it's important for us businesses to get involved with the issues that are affecting our valley. It's not just affecting Swan River, it's not just affecting Bozeman, Minnetonka, or a farmyard in Swan Valley West. It's affecting everybody, and it's a cost to everyone. What we want to do is we want to make it one kind of stop shop. If somebody needs something, we will know where to find them or where to send them or call somebody for them. We want them to be this to be what we're looking at, like Derek said, a holistic approach, so that there's some place to go. Right now, as you hear from all of the entities that Johnny had said it would be involved with us, that's a lot for somebody to try and find all of those in the valley, and we want to be that stop for everybody. And as Derek said, with Manitoba Justice, we want to have an alternative to what is going on right now. And that's a plethora of things going on. Like, there's no housing for some people, there's no drug rehabilitation for some people, and it goes on and on. We want to be able as a group and hopefully as a valley to be the help that everybody needs. And if you gentlemen and ladies have any questions, we will take them now.
Okay, thank you. Anyone have a question?
Certainly.
Anybody else first?
We knew you'd have one, Bill.
I always come up with questions. I always try to get somebody else to go first, so I don't have to ask everything. Thanks for the presentation tonight. I certainly appreciate that you folks are here to explain this to us a little more. Can you hear me okay?
Not really.
Okay, maybe I'll just move this, James. How about if we go like this? Does that work better for you?
Oh, beautiful.
Much better.
So thank you for attending tonight. It's great to have you. A few questions that came up for me when I read this. Certainly it's an ambitious project. I was having trouble determining just how big the scope of it was. And maybe you could speak to that for a minute. I couldn't figure out if what we're talking about here is building a treatment facility or an office building to put all these offices together, exactly what the dream is. Could you speak to that a bit?
Maybe you can start, Julian, and then I'll chime in.
Okay, thanks for the question, Bill. Great question. You know what? It's a holistic approach. We don't have all the answers. What we were striving for was what the gaps that we're seeing from all of the other organizations. So what we are seeing right now is a tier 1 housing facility. So that's a facility, I'm not sure if you're aware or the rest of council, a tier 1 is kind of the last resort housing, brick walls type thing. Is our internet, can you guys still hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're here.
Hello? You're still
Yeah, we can hear you.
there?
Yes.
All right, so tier 1 housing, and then of course aspects are suffering. So I mean, some people are might have it in the mind that we want to move every single facility and try to have it under one roof. And that's not exactly what we're trying to do. We want to piggyback on all the services. Some of the very essential services would need to be in this facility, but it's basically looking at what the needs are and filling those voids and being able to be a part of the entire picture, not starting, I think was the first question, and you might have to help me on the second question, please, Bill.
Well, I think that's a good start of the first one. I'll give you a different second question. I think everybody at our table appreciates you're not asking for money because we're broke. But what concerns me, I know I've met with the citizens of North Parkland to discuss some of their dreams as well, but our current provincial mandate is pretty strong on local involvement with the dollar sign behind it. So I'm curious if you're looking at building something. I know you're not asking for money now, but does that become an ask later on if we're looking at a facility and, are we talking about $8 million facility or a $10 million facility, and what does the future hold?
Bill, it's Derek. Just to supplement that, it is a good question, and we've had that question before. This, right now, what we want to do, and it's kind of fit a little bit. The reason we're not much aware of that, we're losing police officers to transport. We're having crisis when we have police officers tied up in security detail in the hospitals. And part of the other issue we're dealing with is transient situations with people moving across the region. When there's a mental health crisis, or when there is a significant medical related issue, or when there's a significant crisis from a criminal standpoint, we're dealing with a situation where we just don't have the resources available. Manitoba Justice, according to Mr. Wojcik, is willing to work with us. Hence, we want to take a tiered approach to this. The reason we're not asking for money is because we believe that if we can have the communities, the RMs, all the community players, government, non-government agencies, and business involved, we can start looking at it from a strategic planning standpoint over multiple tiered strategic years with Manitoba Justice funding us. Now, Now, there are other grants and other programs available to help us as well, but our goal would be to engage the subcommittee members. And that subcommittee group is everybody from the CMHA to education, to healthcare, to business. So we've got basically 12 to 14 significant players around the table now. And we started with 4, and that was basically where we're looking at this from a pilot project standpoint. The next step would be branch it out to engage these subcommittee members and their departments within government. Then take that strategic plan and explode it out tier by tier over the course of the next few years. So that's why we're not looking at funding. We're looking at Manitoba Justice to fund us. And it also relieves pressure on them. We've got, the fact that the sheriffs only work set hours. There's significant issues here. And then when you take it and you look at this as a self-funded process, hopefully several years down the road, we can manage that hopefully with the work programs and the education programs inside by capitalizing on, say, what the Friendship Center is doing here with their Succeed programs and some of the other programs that Jack Dick is working on, as well as Byron Freed. So we've got multiple levels of government that want to participate, and whether it's federal or provincial at this point. And with the funding being set aside over years from the province, that's what we're hoping. Does that answer your question, Bill?
Well, it certainly takes a shot. I have one more, then I'll turn it over to my colleagues, who I'm sure have some as well. I just kind of...
Sorry, Bill, can you put the mic closer to you? We're just having a hard time hearing.
Okay, is that better?
Yes,
yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, I think that goes a long way to answer that. I have one final question, and I'll turn it over to my colleagues, so I'm sure have some as well. The portion with the greenhouse, I kind of struggle slightly to see how it fits in. Could you maybe just in 60 seconds or less kind of tell us about the greenhouse part of it?
Yes, absolutely. So the greenhouse is going to act, or the thought of it is to act as the restorative justice opportunity. We've noticed and we've heard that there's been a struggle for a real employment and places to gain skills for individuals who continue to be arrested, who continue to commit the same crimes over and over again. There's a desire to want to gain skills and gain something meaningful. We're seeing that a lot of businesses now aren't hiring individuals with criminal records, and this would be a holistic approach to the term restorative justice to help gain skills and gain willful employment. So that is the scope of the greenhouse in this context, is that it's going to add for a more on-the-job skill training, and as well, the recycling cardboard program fits into the greenhouse in terms of heating that facility. So that's a really quick 60 seconds or less note to that.
Okay, so apparently I have one follow-up, even though I promised I was done. We're fortunate in Swan Valley West to be home to a couple greenhouses. Could you just speak for a moment to what this greenhouse would make? Because certainly we don't want to see government funding necessarily competing against our private greenhouses. Yes, absolutely. So the vision for this greenhouse would be not to compete with what we currently have. This greenhouse is more looking to provide a finished product, whether that might be a finished lettuce, a finished cucumber, a tomato, those types of finished products. So not a nursery or a starting greenhouse that you see within the community. All right, thank you for indulging me, folks. I'll pass it along to my colleagues.
Anyone else have a question of Derek, Naomi, or Johnny? If not, we have talked about this for about a half an hour. We also have a resolution that we are going to entertain with respect to showing support for the Business Consortium Subcommittee. So once again, thank you for your efforts. Thank you for taking the time to inform us and for answering Mr. Gade's questions.
Absolutely, and we invite your council or individuals to the Business Consortium at any time. Don't feel obligated, but it is, we would like to see some representation from that side as well. You're always welcome. And once again, thank you on behalf of myself, Derek, Naomi, and Reeve Minish. Thanks for the opportunity. Derek, any final words?
I just have one other comment, and I would express my appreciation to everyone as well. And as the subcommittee grows, we're going to be expanding tiers of discussion, including more community representatives, as well as the municipality. So we may be reaching out to you again to make sure that you're engaged, so that you're not, there is no one in a silo within the valley, basically, is what I'm saying. We want everybody to have the information, whether they're participating or not. We do want people to be aware of where this is going, so that in one way, shape, or form, everyone has that knowledge. So thank you again, folks.
Okay, thank you, and good night.
Thank you.
Okay, we have the resolution that I referred to, moved by Councillor Blosha, second by Councillor Gade, resolved that the Municipality of Swan Valley West is devoted to improving the Swan River Valley and ensuring its future success. Be it therefore resolved that the Municipality of Swan Valley West hereby supports the Swan Valley Business Consortium Subcommittee, the Swan Valley Community Safety Partnership, requests of support and encourage the success of their venture on a conceptual basis. Questions, comments? Not all in favor? That is carried.
Darryl, is that you?
Yes.
Okay, thanks for joining.
Welcome. We are just going into finance, 8.1. Moved by Councillor Kushniryk, second by Councillor Foster. Resolved that the Council for the Municipality of Swan Valley West does hereby approve the following payments. General checks number 16285 to 16322 in the amount of $88,914.92 for a grand total of $88,914.92. Any questions on those checklists?
Probably not a surprise to the group. Check 16294. That's the DD West LLP. I just want to make sure I'm reading it right. It looks like the $436 is for the computer security review. That's what CS review is. The other $1,209.60. Is there anything we can say about what that's about?
That was a variety of emails and phone calls, and some of that will be covered off in camera.
I guess being that it's dealt with in camera, it's difficult to speak about much in here, but having been part of the in-camera session at our last meeting and seeing the costs we're incurring and knowing what it's for,
It's not all for the exact stuff we talked about in your presence.
certainly it troubles me greatly to see council spending that kind of money for their issues we're talking about in camera. And I think if our ratepayers and the general public had any idea of what we're discussing and what that bill is for, certainly if recall was an option, the entire council would be gone. I don't understand why we're doing that, and it sickens me that we're spending that much money on those types of actions. But unfortunately, because of the rules we're under, I can't comment further.
Any other questions or comments on any of the checks? If not, all in favor? Opposed? Councillor Pierrepont, are you in favor or opposed?
In favor?
Okay, thank you. That is carried. Can you hear the proceedings, Councillor Pierrepont?
Yes.
Okay. Moved by Councillor Wills, second by Councillor Gade. Resolved that the Council for the Municipality of Swan Valley West has hereby approved the following payments. Payroll checks number 3261 to 3278 in the amount of $21,412.44. Any questions there? Not all in favor?
Yes.
That is carried. Moved by Councillor Gade, second by Councillor Blosha. Resolved that the Council for the Municipality of Swan Valley West does hereby receive the financial statement for the period ending July 2020 as presented. Questions or comments on that?
James, I'm curious, are we able to trust these are funds, are these not accurate, numbers accurate, or will there still be transfers that need to be done?
September will true those all up. Those
So right now,
those
not for
haven't
sure.
changed since 2019. So you're correct. They once the taxes start coming in, and then we true up the trust funds.
Anyone further? If not, all in favor? Councillor Pierrepont, are you in favor? Councillor Pierrepont, are you still there?
Yes.
Okay, are you in favor?
Yes.
Thank you, that is carried. And we have one piece of correspondence under 10.1. You all have a copy of it?
Yes.
Okay, so it's noted that you all have a copy and have read it?
Could we maybe put it on a future agenda to talk about it some more?
Yeah.
Not tonight, but just in the future.
Okay, we'll move to number 12. And we'll start the topic list this time. Councillor Gade.
It's not a lot of committee reports because I don't attend a terrible lot of them. I did have earlier today a ratepayer contact me, and they were wondering what the process would be. They've made some complaints to council. They feel they haven't been acted on. What would we like them to do next to sort of follow up with that? What's the appropriate process for it? I can share.
Was the complaint brought forward?
It has been a few times, and they feel they haven't got resolution on it.
And is it a legitimate
I
request?
certainly feel it is. The whole group may not all totally agree. I think we all have different viewpoints on it. I don't know, is it best for them to come as a delegation? Should they be writing us a letter? What would we like them to do to sort of address their concerns?
Were they discussed around the table?
We have discussed it in camera, which is why I'm being a little bit.
Okay, and that's what I was going to suggest, that we refresh our memory and perhaps get a resolution to it, if there is a resolution possible.
Okay, so maybe we just want to add it to the in camera. We'll talk about it for a minute there.
Yep.
Okay. That's, I think, that's all I have.
Good, thank you. Councillor Wills.
I think all for me is, we had a safety meeting, was that last week, Katie? And an HR meeting I attended as well. Other than that, nothing else.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Foster.
I think I'm good.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Kushniryk.
I attended the safety meeting as well, and the library board, just like to report that the paving has been completed out in Gade, so the wheelchair access parking lot is completed, looks good. And, steady going at the library. Numbers are consistently growing, but I guess we'll wait to hear or see what happens in the near future with the COVID situation.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Blosha.
Yeah, we had a safety meeting, I had a utility meeting, LUD meeting, and HR. And safety meeting, we went through a few things and we're ordering some new first aid kits, which we need, and we're getting on track, I think. And that's what I have to report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Pierrepont.
All I had was just an HR meeting.
Okay, thank you. I attended via Zoom the Swan Valley Business Consortium meeting, which was on the 12th of August. 12th of August in the afternoon, we had a utility meeting, and then an HR meeting as well. And that was it for me. James, do you have anything?
I attended the utility meeting as well as the safety meeting and the LUD meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Pass that around for initials.
Moved by Councillor Gade, second by Councillor Blosha, resolved that we do hereby accept the following verbal reports regarding council committees and communications. Councillor Kushniryk, safety meeting, library board, paving is complete in Benito. Councillor Blosha, safety, utility, HR and LUD meeting. Councillor Wills, safety and HR meeting. Councillor Pierrepont, HR meeting. Councillor Gade, ratepayer concern. Nothing for Councillor Foster. Myself, Swan Valley Business Consortium meeting, utility meeting, and an HR meeting, and James Webb attended the safety meeting, the utility meeting, and the LED committee meeting. Call the question, all in favor?
Yes.
It is carried. Okay, this brings us to the point in the agenda where we will entertain a question or a comment from the gallery if a single member has a question.
I have none tonight other than to say thank you.
Okay, thank you. Our next step will be to go in camera, so we will take a short recess to allow the video equipment to be taken down, etc. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Wills, second by Councillor Kushniryk. As per contract for gravel, the Council of the Municipality of Swan Valley West agrees to share costs up to $4,000 with other contractors who have access to the gravel supply, plus supply equipment and labor for completion of required work up to 27 hours for each. Questions, comments?
Or which, up to 4,000, yeah, up to 4,000, yeah,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Or half, yeah.
Nothing further, all in favor?
Yes.
That's carried. Okay, anything further before we adjourn? Not. Moved by Councillor Foster, second by Councillor Kushniryk, resolved that this meeting shall now adjourn 10:02 p.m. Be it further resolved that the next meeting of council will be on September 8th at 7 p.m. All in favor?
Yes.
carried.
First day of school.